Jason Baffrey, we are live, sir.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Coach Talk TV, where we believe that coaching and coaches are an essential part of human development. You're going to learn how having a guide in your own personal development can change your life, improve your relationships, and enhance your work experience. I'm Jason Baffrey. This lovely lady is Rhonda Knight Boyle, and you are watching Coach Talk TV, where we have coaching conversations that matter.
We do indeed have coaching conversations that matter, Jason Baffrey. Hey, welcome everybody. We would love to have you come play with us on screen, actually chatting on screen. Right. Chatting. We have to pre-schedule you to get you on screen. But if you want to chat with us, which we'd love to pop your comments up here on the screen, you have to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. They have all sorts of privacy rules and all that now, Jason.
No, it's crazy.
I know. It is crazy. But, you know, I don't know. It just is what it is.
We do want to remind everybody also that if you have not been to our YouTube channel, please go check that out. All you have to do is go to YouTube, search Coach Talk TV. When you see our little cool-looking TV logo, go to that channel, subscribe, ring the bell to get the notifications so you know when all of our shows are going to be coming up. We are in the second week of our Discover Coaching series, and it has been an incredible time so far. We are now on our seventh straight work day of interviewing coaches from around the world. And if you've missed any of those previous episodes, you can go back to Coach Talk TV on Facebook or the YouTube channel and watch all of those, because you've missed some great information if you haven't been with us.
True story. And it's been an amazing week talking to coaches every day, learning how they work with their people. Today, we've got an exciting show with Dr. Shauna Sobers. She is in the green room. And guess who has joined us? Kelly Parks from Arizona. And you know what? She will be on tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yay. Hey, good to see you, Kelly. Say again.
Our first nighttime show.
It will be our first nighttime show. Yes, indeed it will. So you guys, as Jason said, you can find us on the YouTube channel, and we pop that link into the chat box, and we're broadcasting live from Coach Talk TV. Yeah. So good to have you guys with us. So what up, Jason? How's your challenge going?
Which challenge would that be?
Well, I think you're doing like
my physical challenge,
muscle stuff.
Well, today was an off day for me. So I went yesterday, and then I go tomorrow. I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday right now. But so far, I really enjoy it. I mean, it hurts like the dickens, but I'm overall kind of feeling better, more energized, and happier. I don't know if that's because of the physical workout, but I think it could be. So
I think it is. I think anytime you're like, doing something physical, staying in shape and all that.
I've heard about that release of endorphins when you work out, but I didn't think I had ever really experienced that before. But I've never done this particular kind of workout before, so I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, even though it hurts really, really bad.
I get that when I talk.
I hurt when you talk too.
No, the endorphins thing. That's what I'm talking about. No, it's all about feeling, when you do things, when you hopefully everyone has the opportunity to do things where they're gifted. And I have been gifted with the gift of gab, I think, yapping all the time, all the time. So, it's all about doing what you love. And, coaches can help with that. Right. That's that with which a lot of people have, they kind of wander.
Yeah. Well, and this is my, going back to my physical stuff. This is the first time I've ever really worked with a coach. And so I'm doing a boot camp thing, and there's a coach and there's a process and all of that sort of thing. So that's kind of the new thing that I'm doing. So I'm really enjoying having that extra motivation and
Yeah.
support there. And, one of the things that we talk about here is that you can get that not just in your physical life, but in your mental life, your business life, your
Right.
personal development life, your parenting, your kids. I mean, all of that. You can find a coach for all of those things that you can work with and just get that extra push, that extra support, that extra lift up when you need it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that you have to have you will have many coaches over your lifetime. Coaches, mentors, people that are helping you. And a lot of that will come when you're vulnerable about where you need help and you're open to that help.
Right.
And I think that the privacy and the intimacy of a coaching relationship can really help you like work through some of those things that may be holding you back, And I think I'll tell you, this is coming up. Is this the third? It is. This is the third week in January, and it is one of the most difficult weeks of the year, if you think about it for a minute.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've made this mad push for these great goals that you've now, a lot of people set their New Year's resolutions, or there's certain things they want to accomplish in the first quarter. And so they get after it during those first 3 weeks. And then by the third week, it's cold and they may have forgotten a little bit of why they're doing what they do. And, we had a coach on yesterday who talked about how coaches can hold the space and hold that vision for you when you start to get lost in the weeds, as you probably will if you're like everybody else. If you're like me, that's what happens to me.
Yeah, and again, to take it back to the physical aspect of that, I mean, you can go into the gyms like the first week of January and they're packed, and then by
Right.
week 3 or week 4 they have weeded quite a few people out. And how many people like me have done that and then paid for a gym membership for like a year after that and never gone back? But I'm not going to do that this time. I have a new mission, and it is to get myself into some kind of shape and feel better and feel more active and positive and energized. And so that's what I'm
Yep.
working on.
Cool. Hey, I have a feeling I know who this Facebook user is. I bet who is this? Melanie Massey, I bet, is hiding out. And Melanie, if that's you, say, hey, she and Brian Russell are listening on a road trip.
Oh, wow.
We need to get you guys on because, they are on to some crazy, amazing stuff. That's 2 coaches down in Louisiana. So how fun. Hey, if you guys want to get on and let us see your comments, we would love to see them. You do have to give Facebook permission by going to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Yeah. So good to see you guys. Glad to have you join us today. Hey, Jason, we probably ought to get moving because I'm excited about our topic today. Let's see. Let me hide this. Huh?
The doctor is in the house.
The doctor is in the house. Let me tell you about Shauna T. Sobers. She is the CEO and principal facilitator at Shauna T. Sobers. She is a leadership educator and consultant for individuals and teams wanting help articulating and developing their talent and potential. She's been in higher education for over 15 years in areas such as student activities, leadership development, residence life, and Greek life. Let's have her come on up and say hey to the people.
Hi.
Dr. Shauna, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Yeah, you're coming in from Austin.
Yes, Austin, Texas. Hook 'em horns.
Uh-oh. Hold on. We're from Oklahoma. That's big rivalry around here. And I think we lost.
You gotta do that.
Lose this year. Leave it to Shauna Sobers to rub our faces in it. Uh-oh, did we lose her? She's looking like she's frozen here.
I don't know.
I hope not. Shauna, pop out and back in again because it looks like we have got you frozen. So she'll be back in just a minute, I know. I hope.
All right. Well, while we're doing that, let's take a little bit to hear from our sponsor of one of our shows. Our sponsor.
Excellent. Here we go.
The Coach Talk TV today is brought to you by soar.com. If you're still putting off going for your dream job, or you've ever wondered how to ask for that raise or promotion, you're not really sure how to go about doing it. Maybe you're looking for a complete career change, or if you've hit retirement age, maybe you're just trying to reinvent yourself. We have some great news. It is 2020, which is completely hard to believe that it is already 2020. This is going to be your year. It's not enough to live. We deserve to thrive in all areas of our lives. Coach Talk TV is all about connecting you to a coach that can get you to the next level of your journey. And you can find that coach at soar.com. So visit soar.com today.
Hey, soar.com today. Well, we need Dr. Shauna to come on back in because Kelly Parks loves her t-shirt. So we want to be able to tell her that. Here she comes. She is coming in right now, and I'm hearing an echo on my end. So
well, I think it's okay. Here we go.
Hey, I'm back.
There you are.
we are glad you are back. So we have had you on before on our previous show and sure loved and enjoyed having you. Now, today we want to be talking about supervising, the supervisor role, people who are moving into management and going into that supervisory role. And so the first thing that you want to, would like for you to talk about is some blind spots that can keep us from seeing where our power is. Help us find our way through that.
Yeah, that's such a great question. And often how someone gets into that supervision role is by doing good work. And they do great work. They are able to take the lead on some things. And then maybe the company, the institution says, hey, we want to, challenge you and give you some folks to supervise. Can you supervise them in the work that they're doing and, get them up to speed? But what happens when you begin to manage other people is that they might not be motivated in the same ways that you are, or they might not do things in the same way that you are. And so now you've not only added the challenge of getting the work done and the output of not only yourself, but someone else, but now you have to figure out how to maybe translate what it is that you did into something that's going to help someone else get there too. So you can get to the same output, but the path there might be very different depending on each and every employee that you have. So figuring out what makes them tick is a challenge that often supervisors don't get trained in. They're given that role as kind of a thank you for doing all the hard work, but then there's not so much of the backup and the support of what does that really mean to be a supervisor? What does it mean to develop our biggest resources and our biggest potential, which is our employees oftentimes, and our team members and our colleagues? How do we go about doing that? How do we understand where they're coming from? How do we not use our own lens of how we do it as a way to judge or not take into consideration how someone else does things before we work together and figure it all out? All of those things are the unique things that each supervisor needs to think about and talk about and reflect. And a coach can definitely help be a sounding board and help you rethink, why might that person be doing it the way that they did? Or how might I talk to this person to help bring out their best self?
Wow. You bring up some really good points here. And one thing that came to my mind is that most managers, supervisors, people who are elevated into those roles, they often are elevated because they were good at the job, but they've never managed anybody before. So here they come up and they finally feel like they've gotten that carrot, that reward, that they're financially making more money. And now they have 15 people who used to be their peers who they now kind of own.
That's difficult to navigate is how do you transition from I'm your peer, I'm your friend, to now I'm responsible for whether or not you do that work. How do I navigate that conversation? And a lot of times, especially now, there's also the dynamic of ageism happening. Like, hey, you might become a supervisor and be younger than the folks that you have to supervise.
Hello.
Both give that respect to that person who might have been in that company for longer than you, or might have been, you know, seeing all the context, and be able to really advise you. How do you seek their support and show that respect, and also, you know, carry yourself as a supervisor? That's a really difficult conversation to navigate. And I know myself as someone who often looks young and is often perceived as younger than I am, coming into a supervisory role or coming into a new institution. And prior to my having the doctorate, this was even more the case, because I think people assume age with education. But I would have administrative assistants in particular, but certainly coordinators and managers alike, who, you know, I had to navigate. How do I have this conversation to let them know, hey, I see you, and I value and respect your opinion and the information that you have, and I'm here to listen and help you develop into what you want to be. I'm not trying to make you into me. I'm giving you the space. My ego's out of the way. I'm not afraid for you to be successful. How do I have that conversation and still say, hey, I have been hired for a particular reason. They've seen these skills in me, and there's a reason why I'm a supervisor. And there's some times when I have to make that decision, maybe without your input, or it might be different from what you would do. And so how do you get that respect? And so there's really, there's 5 things that I kind of think of as what makes someone's a strengths-based supervisor. It's knowing their own talent. You have to kind of understand and be in the journey and the path of knowing your own talent. Number 2 is knowing how to develop your own talents into your strengths and how to apply them. How do I look at the situation that I'm in this particular case, it's supervising, and how do I use the things that I'm already good at to do those things that I need to do? For instance, for me, I have the strength of harmony, if you know your Clifton strengths. And so that's really, a lot of people often go and say, that's about you want to get away from conflict, or you're afraid of conflict. Whereas I really see that as an opportunity for collaboration. And so for me, I recognize, hey, I have harmony. And so it's more about finding the commonality of what people are interested in and starting from that as a base to then build off of. So as a supervisor, I really use that strength of harmony to listen to all of the problems and the situations that come when people are working in a setting with other people, and then be able to bring us together as a team and say, well, hey, at the very least, we all want this. In my field of higher education, it often is, we want our students to do well and to be educated and to develop. So at the very least, if we can, you know, say that that's at our core, but we might be coming at it from different ways, we can maybe give each other the space to come at it at the ways that we need to. Mm-hmm. So that goes into the number 3 thing that you need as a strengths-based supervisor, is identifying the talents in your team members. And so whether that is using a personality assessment like a Clifton Strengths or a Myers-Briggs or a Love Languages or True Colors, or a DISC, any of those, or if it's just simply sitting down with them and on a one-on-one conversation and getting to know what energizes them, what gets them excited, that's going to be really critical in your strengths-based supervision journey. The 3rd piece is orchestrating opportunities and creating activities that challenge your team members to develop and apply their strengths. So there's different worksheets and handouts and activities that I'd like to talk about today that managers can use to really help their team members begin to talk a common language or learn how to support one another. And then the last piece is adapting different approaches to be most efficient with each individual on the team. Because one of the things that we learn right away as a supervisor is what works for one person may not work for every single person on the team. And so you have to find many different ways to adapt your approach, shift your approach, use different language, use different techniques to be able to get that same output out of your team.
Wow. Let me go over those real quick.
Yeah.
Number 1, know your own talents. Number
Mm.
2, know how to develop your talents into strengths. That's that own personal development. 3, identify the talents in your team. 4, orchestrate and create activities for your team to help them grow. And then adapt different approaches because they're all different.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed they're all different. Wow, those are great steps and things to consider as a supervisor. You know, it is I think if managers learn how to coach their people instead of managing their people. I can't wait to be managed, said no one ever.
Right. And
You know?
often that's the reason why people will leave positions, is not because of the company a lot of times, or not because of the work, but because of the management. And so we have to help our teams and our employees and our peers to be seen.
Yeah.
To feel that you care about them as individual and not only the work and the output and the bottom line. But if they can truly know where your heart is, then they might be more excited to come to work and bring themselves to work as well. And so one of the tips and tools that I use is using Simon Sinek's work with the golden circle, and really finding out what's at your core, what's your why, then what's your what, and what's your how. And I have a display of that in my office of what my why is and my how and my what. And I share that with my staff. We sometimes sit and watch that TED Talk of his. And then we have that conversation of, what is your why? What excites you about this work that we're doing? What brings you to the table? And when each person identifies their why, it gives a little insight into how they might approach their work. I might give you a little bit more space if I understand you a little bit more. There's so many value exercises out there. I really like the one from Gallup, though, with the cards. Yes. And each of the cards, have you ever played that? And so I like it because it's more tactile learning. And I can bring this into a staff meeting and everyone pick out their cards of what they value. And I like it because it's not just a word, but a phrase. And so they can really dig in and measure, put their cards out, pick out 10, pick out 5. You get to those 5. What I really like about it, because 5 is the number of talent themes that you get as your result from the Clifton Strengths. And so then you can say, all right, these are your 5 values. How do you see them matching with maybe your 5 themes? And there may be theme dynamics, 2 or more, that really explain why you might be valuing those things. And I've done this in the team, where then we put it up on a large board, everyone's values. And then we begin to do some theme spotting of, where do we see the themes? Okay, this is my harmony coming out again too. Where do we see the themes that we have in common? And how might that be playing out in our work? And so then we're like, oh, we both love or appreciate family, or those sort of things. But I use it as, hey, I have to leave early so that I can get to my family. Another person might be using it as, this is my family, or I want to create a family in my workspace. And so I do it by celebrating everyone's birthday. But now we're beginning to engage in that conversation of how different values are beginning to play out in the workplace. And so those are some of those individual activities and some of those team activities that you can do as a supervisor, using some of maybe the Gallup Strengths tools from their website. You can buy those playing cards.
Sure. Yeah. Beverly brings up, of course, the fact that you said what you said before, that people leave because of managers or supervisors, not the company. It's a really super high number.
Definitely. That happens a lot. And it's because they don't feel as though someone's invested in them. So many So here's another like strength-based approach that I use with my team is I'm not afraid for them to talk to me about looking for other jobs. And I know that might seem rather strange, but I want to know, where are you trying to get to? Let me help you get there, even if it's not at this company. But if they know that I'm investing in them to make the most of this experience of while they're here now, I'm going to seek out what's good committees for you to be on to get the insight and the information that you want to be, or who in the company do I need to network with you and introduce you to so that you can broaden your network and raise those levels, or what professional associations need to be getting you interested in so that then you can share and talk about the work that you're already doing. So if we're having those conversations about what it is that you love doing, where you want to go, but then also, more importantly, what are those transferable skills? How do you articulate that in your resume and in your interview? And so I'll sit and I'll coach my staff using the STAR method: a specific situation or task, the actions that you took, and then the result. So if you're able to tell a story while you're doing an interview and you feel more comfortable because you've been practicing with me as a supervisor in a mock interview setting, then when you go to another company, you're going to feel more confident in your skill set and in your abilities. And potentially, maybe if not now, then later, if you still have that relationship, you can bring them back into a different company or position that you're in when you see a better fit.
Mm-hmm.
For the long game we're thinking about.
Yeah, I want to talk more about this after we come back from our break, Jason. Let's hear from our second sponsor.
All right, let's do it. If you're a parent, you know that parenting is hard and kids do things that we don't understand and that we can see as problematic, but it's really our own inability to understand how they're functioning that is the issue. But there is hope. The new Incredible Kids Assessment is now available for parents to find the joy in parenting again. And I am all about finding the joy. Learn the secret to unlocking your child's potential, gain a better understanding of who your child is and how to parent to their unique gifts. If you're ready to understand yourself, your children, and how to guide them to success, simply go to facebook.com/Baffrey Coaching, and you can hit us up about getting the assessment and finding out more.
All right. I am hearing a drag, Jason. I wanted to say hey to Cindy Weaver and Debbie Litzauer is in the audience too. I'm going to go shut down some of these and see if that's not helping.
What are you hearing?
I do. I'm hearing feedback.
Well,
hey, you know what? Guess what? We have first world problems here on Coach Talk TV, and we just keep on going, don't we, Jason?
Yes, we do.
You know what I really want to know, Shauna, is how much time do you invest, or what would be a good amount of time for a manager to invest in his people or her people, say on a weekly basis, where you're doing these self-awareness, this talent development, this growth? Weigh in on that.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to take as long as you might think. If you take the time at maybe the beginning of the year to map out where you want to get your team. I just did this with my team at a team retreat. And I said, okay, we have this many staff meetings in a semester. Every week we're having a staff meeting, but then there's a couple times when we know there's going to be an extra meeting canceled or professional development that's happening. So then we really identified 6 times within our semester of our 5 or 6 month semester where we're like, we're going to solidly get together and do some team building activities. It doesn't always have to be the supervisor either. If you build in this culture and you give some parameters and boundaries around what you're looking for, what you want the outcome to be, it can be something rotated around the staff as well. And so those are some things that you can do to map out, okay, well, we have a 6 month period. what are our staff meetings and what's coming up within our staff meetings, and then when can we do this throughout. Because what you want to create is a culture of development, not a one-time thing and then I'm done and then I don't touch it for a while. But we want to be using it and engaging it every day. So that's the weekly meetings. In my one-on-ones, I also have a schedule of I send every staff member an Outlook appointment and I try to meet with them for half an hour to an hour every other week. I don't always have to be talking about development with them because there may be some critical work issues there. But I have a 5-question outline of what I'm going to talk about. I check in and see how they're doing as a person. How's their family life? How was their weekend or their week? What are their, pros and cons or apples and oranges or whatever the case may be? How are they feeling? What's the temperature? What's going on for them? Then I check in on their supervision because I often am supervising supervisors. So that's where the coaching a supervisor thing has really come about because that's what I do in my day-to-day work. But so I talk to them about how's it going supervising? What are those maybe challenges? How is it with their particular projects, collateral that they're working on? And then we get to what are your professional development goals? So if every 6 months, I also have them individually tell me what their goals are. And then we'll check in at least once a month, but then for sure solidly after the 6 months where I say, okay, what are the goals? How are you going to measure them? How are you going to know that you've made accomplishment in these goals? And then how do these goals relate to the institution goals? And the reason why I do that piece is so that they know the work that they're doing day to day is not only serving them, but directly serving the institution. So they can know, even though it may seem like a small project, they know how it's correlated to the end goal. Why that's also beneficial is because it's going to help you do your end of the year report. And so we try to pull from that so that we don't wait till the end of the year and then have to remember everything we did all year. But if we're checking in each month, hey, how are you making progress on your goals? But then how is that progress on your goals helping the company? Then everyone benefits in terms of doing assessment on a monthly basis. And then the last thing that's on their one-on-one list is, hey, these are your Clifton strengths. How have you been using your Clifton strengths within these last 2 weeks? And then we kind of talk about that. So some visuals that you can do that don't take time, but that help create that culture is adding your strengths on your maybe email signature so that you're constantly being seen every time you're communicating. I sometimes make door tags that they can put on their door hangers or put up on their bulletin board if they don't have a door and they're more in cubicles. Or I use the Cascade reports and I might put up their profiles on my bulletin board. So as we're talking or having a conversation about supervision, and they say, oh, I'm really frustrated by this person. I'm like, wait a minute, what strength do you think they're using to do that? And then we go up and look and then delve into that conversation. So it doesn't take time to build those into some of the prompts or the questions that I'm asking my staff.
Mm-hmm. So in some respects, you're doing spot coaching all along the way.
Yes.
And I think, honestly, with the millennial generation, that's exactly what they want. The days of sitting down for a performance review where your boss spends 5 minutes telling you how amazing you are, and then the next 40 minutes telling you what's wrong, like how many of us have been through that experience?
And what's so great about having these every other week one-on-ones where you're already doing a progress review of how do you think you're going? What are some tips or tools that I can give you along the way? That's already helping me develop the evaluation when it comes time to do that. And so a lot of times supervisors will only put in writing when they're criticizing someone for doing something that they don't want them to do.
Oh my goodness. And we need to be catching them doing stuff right.
Doing stuff right. And so when they do stuff right, I not only say, good job, because that's important, but I try to specifically tell them what it was that was good and that helps them know how to continue doing that, that they should continue doing that. And then not only do I say it, but I'm going to write it as well. And so whether or not it's my staff, so even if I don't supervise that person, or maybe especially if I don't, I'll write to that person, copy their supervisor, and say, hey, I really appreciated you, when you helped with this project, but also, I really appreciated your follow through. That really helped the team. I appreciated that you noticed when something needed to get done without being told to do it. That really helped us out in this way, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't have to be super long, maybe a paragraph.
Mhm.
And then now that's also in writing, just as well as the things that we don't want them to do, because if we keep telling them what not to do, they're like, well, what do you want me to do?
Right.
And so catch them doing the good things and then put it in writing so that when it comes time to the evaluation, they're not surprised. And you already have some language around doing that. Another tip for supervisors doing evaluations is supervisor can't see everything that the employee's doing. So ask for help in getting some of that reports of catching them doing something good. I will message a chair of a committee that I know they're working on, or a colleague that I know that they worked on a project with, and say, hey, this person's coming up for their annual review. What are some things that you thought they did well? What are some areas for improvement? And, tell me how you've overall experienced them. And I'll get them from multiple places. And then I'll put direct quotes into their evaluation of, not only do I think this person's doing great in this area, but look what their colleagues have to say. And boy, does that make them, just get tingles.
Right.
When they know that not only their supervisor is saying that they're doing really good in those areas, but they can hear that from multiple places of how their work has impacted. And so here comes my significance, that impact and that legacy and that giving back. So that's one of my love languages, is words of affirmation. So I think that really comes out in the evaluation and thinking about that positive reinforcement of continuing to do that work. And if I have to give them some critical feedback, then I'm going to do that from a strengths lens. I'm going to say, hey, maybe this is the shadow side of that particular thing that you're doing really well. Because one of the quotes that I love is, leaders' biggest area of mistake is often from their area of strength.
Oh, yeah.
Because they overdo it, they lean on it too much, and then it becomes blinder, and then that's where they fall prey to mistakes, or not getting a new perspective or input. And so sometimes I'll be able to say, hey, this is where you're doing really well, and then when you keep doing it, this is where it's also led you into some places that weren't as good. And so how do we pull the throttle back on this, pump this up a little bit more, or get you connected to this person that might compliment you? And how do we do that?
Yeah, that's really kind of helping them see the path,
yes,
to improvement without judgment.
Right.
You're giving them the tools they need.
Right.
Instead of just the negative.
Reprimanding, bad dog, just kind of like
I
that.
know.
We're training them with the treats of, like, you've done this well, I'm going to affirm that, keep doing that. Those kind of reinforcements help you say, hey, like, I did do good in that is an area where I did well. How can I do that more? I want to see that in other spaces where I might not be as good, or recognizing when you're not good in that space. How do I use what came so natural
Up
other spaces, and said, bring that out, and I to something else, if I may.
Yeah, we're getting a little lag in the line here. Real quick, I want to just say hey to Mary Moss. She says so many supervisors need this type of support.
Open is for observation. Yes. So open the front door. Observations. I noticed that you, whatever it is, and so that's showing that you understand the rationale for whatever that you're seeing without the judgment. The is the thinking. And so I'm thinking that it might have been whatever it is. F the front is feelings. And so that's your typical, how did it make you feel? How did it make the team feel? What was the impact of what you particularly did? And the place where people often don't add is the door or the desire. What do you hope it will look like in the future? And so often when someone comes to me and they're like, man, this person's pissing me off, can you talk to them? And I'm like, okay, well, did you try opening the front door first? And I'm just, because I really want you all to be able to have that conversation without needing the mediation of your supervisor. So how do you encourage the team to be able to have these conversations? And I've done it myself as a supervisor of like, hey, this is a difficult conversation. If you don't mind, I'm going to open the front door. And so then I started, it's like, I noticed that you were late to meetings. I'm thinking it might've been that you were rushing from other meetings or you get so excited talking to folks. And yet I'm thinking that that's impacting not only me who's prepared and, ready to do this presentation, but, your colleagues as well who woke up early to get there, whatever the case may be. And so in the future, what I'm hoping for you to do is to maybe create some more buffer time between, or maybe ask for a wake up call or whatever the case may be. And so you're kind of coaching them through, hey, I see you, I notice you, it's okay. And
right. And we want to see some improvement in that area right now.
And here's some, tips or tricks that might help you do even better in that particular thing. And how we can help you get there. You don't have to do it all alone.
I just wanted to make another observation because Beverly Griffith Bryant is saying that conversation leads to employee engagement. And an employee engagement leads to loyalty.
Yes.
Because the employee feels that you're making the investment in them as a person in their human development.
Right.
Why would they go anywhere else? It's at the end of the day, people want to be appreciated and seen. You've said it several times that I see you. They want to be seen. They want to feel seen. And if they are seen in a negative, they want to have the assurance and certainty that there's somebody there to cover their back by giving them some options that they haven't had before. Beverly's asking for the acronym. It's
open the front door.
I was about to say shut the front door, but that's not
or something else.
Open the front door.
Your observations, thinking, feeling, and desire.
Observations, thinking, feeling, and desire. Yeah, love that. Fantastic advice for anyone who is a supervisor. And, I just want to go on the record to say that anybody listening to this who has never been manager or supervisor as coach may be freaking out a minute or two at the thought of spending that much time and energy developing the talent of their people. However, it pays off at the end. It absolutely pays off. And so really the reality is that you will have consequences and you will especially see them now because we have job wars going on. Anybody notice that? People are working, and so companies are having a hard time sometimes hiring people. So get on the stick. That's what we want to say. And we've got great coaches like you out there. And so we thank you for coming by and sharing with us. What great tips for anybody. So, yeah.
Dr. Sobers, can you let everybody know how they can get in touch with you and keep up with what you have going on, or maybe find out more about your acronyms and your particular coaching style?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at ShaunaTSobers.com. And so SHAUNAT for my middle name, Tamara. And Sobers, like not drunk, SOBERS, and then an S at the end. So ShaunaTSobers.com. You can learn about my resilience tree, which is more empowerment of women, career coaching, as well as dance.
Right.
Nice.
You have created a seamless and amazing life for yourself. And that's what we want for all people. So,
Well, it's all leadership. It's
It
all
is.
leadership. It's all about how, whether in the business world or on the dance floor, in the relationships with your supervisor, supervisee, or with your significant other, it's all learning about who you are as a leader and how you want to be perceived, and know, as my t-shirt says, know when to lead and know when to follow. We all have that potential in us to be the best leader. And so it's about how do we navigate that?
That's great. I love the analogy of the dance. So good.
Yeah. Yes, I do
All
have a
right.
talk that merges the two, that is called Dance of Leadership. And so it talks about how do we use this thing called partner dance, which to me is communication and learning how to talk to another body, but then also merging that with leadership and how do we bring that into the business world or corporate world. And so I do have a TED Talk that talks about that as well.
Amazing. So we would love for you. Well, actually, you know what? I found it right here on the internet. I'm going to go and
Super.
add it to the list so that we want our people to find you for sure. So there you go. Go out and watch that TED Talk. Great job. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. Wasn't she amazing?
Yeah, a lot of good stuff there.
Like, I hope we have managers who are going to pick up on this, or supervisors or directors will give it to their managers, because they need to hear what she says.
Well, and I was just having a conversation earlier today with somebody that has taken the strengths assessment and was trying to figure out, well, I haven't really figured out how to apply it correctly. But I mean, I think if you're a leader with a team, she gives some great ideas and ways to really incorporate strengths with your team and really get it going and creating that atmosphere, which I think is just incredible.
Yeah, she spends a lot of time with her people, and she teaches the people that, other companies and organizations that she works with. She teaches them to spend that time too, which I think the payout is the loyalty and the retention and the employee engagement goes up, because people truly feel valued for who they are and what they're doing. So they want to stay for that.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Baffrey, tell us how we can find you, sir.
You can find me by looking up Baffrey on all of your social media channels, or you can visit our Facebook page, Baffrey Coaching, and find us there as well.
There you go. And you will find me inside the Coach Talk TV group. And I have a group especially for coaches, because we'd love to have you on and would love to work with you. You can find me inside of Activate Your Coaching Business right here on Facebook.
Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button if you have not already done so. Also, you can hit ring the bell to get alerts and know when all of our shows are going to be coming up. And be sure to go like our Facebook page, Coach Talk TV. And we will have the audio podcast coming out very soon. We will announce when that is available, but it's going to be very soon. So lots more to come here from Rhonda and I on Coach Talk TV.
There you go.
Join us tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Central Time. And Kelly Parks, who's been on commenting on the show today, will be our guest tomorrow from Arizona.
Can't wait. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you then.